Hello, Ben here from Supercoach Insider, brought to you by BetU, Earn You, the BetU universe. Great to have you along. I'm going to go a little bit more about that in a little bit, but we are really stoked, proud. We've got a couple of sponsors, BetU being one of them. Awesome. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in depth anyway. I've also got some free giveaways as well. To the first 500 people will get a free 100 tokens to bet with at the Earn You site. So really stoked to be on board with that, guys. I'll tell you a lot more about it shortly, particularly tomorrow. I'm not going to do any betting today, simply because I don't know who to tip today. So, I know doggies are favourites, but Sydney are on red hot. So I think I might just sit today out, and I will bring you some more information on that tomorrow. So please do come and have a look tomorrow. So like, subscribe, get in amongst it. And today we're going to do a live react on the teams. And I'm going to then also record another video as well to talk about my team specifically, but it really does depend on what happens on the teams. So let's have a look. So we heard some good news today. I think Bruce is going to be playing, which makes me very excited because I do have Bruce in my team and I have held him. So it's going to be really interesting there. Obviously, yesterday's news, so Bailey Smith in and Wallace is in. Ronke Boy is now back into that fold as well. So obviously, McInerney didn't get up for Sydney, so I expect him to be back up probably in the next week or so there. All right, let's have a look. Bedford medical sub, that's no big news. Dylan Shield actually got up and fit enough to play, so that's good for Essendon supporters. It means you might lose by only 2 goals now. Nick Martin obviously back into that team as well, so really good for those who had him originally. Also good news is that looks like he'll be a good option for us to pick up in Supercoach next week. All right, Francis Devon Smith omitted. That makes sense. I think he had 4 touches. And obviously Merritt being the injured one is probably very big news there. Show lineups. Let's have a look. Oh, how do I have a look at the field view? That's probably something that I should look at. All right, let's have a look here. So in the guts, following Draper Parrish and Durham in there. Okay, interesting. Hobbs is emergency, so not quite in the fold there yet. Who else is in the middle there? Coolbell in the guts. Okay, so he's in the center. So Coolbell is definitely someone I'm considering if I can actually find room for him. It's just hard with that, so it's definitely a consideration. Alrighty. Now, hopefully I don't miss any teams this week because I did miss someone last week. Adelaide versus Port is an interesting one as well. Don't know how Port are like $1.40 favourites, to be fair. I mean, they got flogged last week and Finlayson's omitted, so they came out there. Dixon's still like a month away with bruising in his ankle. Sin's omitted. Dersma's omitted as well. So, all right. So, McKenzie is in. Mays is in. So, interesting there. Pedler omitted, not too surprising there. Sloane's injured, obviously. Saligo is obviously was the sub, so he's been out. Frampton, Murphy, Laird. So Laird's a big one there. Now, Laird is definitely going to add some real grunt run to the Crows, more so than obviously Sloane would have had. So, O'Brien, Keys, and Crouch. I love looking at the midfield matches up, and Laird as well. Any interesting stuff here? Hinge on the interchange. So Hinge is a funny one. We spoke in the podcast about him as well. Bit of a role filler, so he might go back into that sort of defensive line or push up onto the wing. Or if he's on the interchange, you might actually even get a little bit of rotation through the guts there. So I guess we will wait and see. Schoenberg didn't have a great outing last week, so it'll be interesting there. Out of those emergencies, you probably would say either, I reckon even Pedler might even get the go-to as far as the sub-vest instead of Saligo. So I guess we'll see there. And Skinner still keeps his job by the skin of his teeth, the old Skinner. And, Rosie got up. Okay, so that's good news on the half-forward flank. And not too much outside of that there. Mead is on the interchange. So Mead is playing, which is actually good news, outside of him being a sub last week or whatever it was. So if you have Mead, I guess you keep him at this point, because if he does well and they win this game, then chances are he'll get another one and might actually get rid of that crappy score he had last week as a sub-vest. So it's going to be interesting. Dersma, and he's on the interchange emergency list. So that's going to be very interesting news. And I guess they need to make a statement, so that's good. Bruce in, Stain in, Keefe in. So who's out? Riccardi omitted already. Rightio. Brander omitted. Makes sense. Phil Davis injured. Flynn. Oh, Flynn's omitted. Go Bruce. Yes. Yes. Man, that's good news. Bruce had like 40-something hitouts, 20 disposals, and 1 goal, 1 last week. So he was definitely not good last week, the old Flynn. He's emergency. Go Bruce. Man, if he dominates this game and they win, then, man, that's going to be good for ownership. Oh, yes, you can't get rid of him now. If you have him, you have to be stoked. Has to be on field as well. That's me being excited. Tom Green's still killing it in the guts there as well. And I guess it's going to be interesting. Looks like Alir might even be a sub instead of, say, maybe even I doubt Brander would. Although Brander can play multiple roles, so that'll be interesting there. And I guess Keneally on the wing there. Callum Ward, Aish. Right, so nothing too much there. Whitfield on the back flank. Whitfield's a contentious one, so stay tuned for my team pod there because I will talk about him. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, so we'll see how that goes. And let's have a look. So Witts, Rao, Anderson, and it has to be Took. Love that midfield. So good. Lockie Weller's back into that team. McPherson omitted. Flanders omitted. Yeah, that makes sense. Flanders I thought would have come on a bit quicker. But they're actually back quite deep now as well. I mean, if you have McPherson on your interchange there, so your emergency, Burgess can hold his own. Farah can hold his own. Corbett can hold his own. So I actually think they go quite deep. Davies still being named here, so that's good for those that actually own him. The Seagull's actually getting to keep his game, which is interesting. So Rory Atkins, that is, the Seagull. Let's have a look through. McInnes is obviously big in for Collingwood. Maynard back in as well, so I'm hoping that frees up Crisp a little bit as well. McCreary injured, Kruger injured, and Brown omitted. De Koning is back in for Geelong. Yes, De Koning's back in, so no loophole tonight. If you do have, what's his name, McCartan, don't loophole McCartan this week if you do want him as an on-field option because Sam De Koning is back in, so that's interesting. Higgins back in, Dalhouse omitted, Narkle was the medical sub, Zach Guthrie omitted, so obviously they weren't too happy with that last week. Reece Stanley's still their ruck, so I guess he survives at this point in time. Pendle's back in the guts there. Dacos is on the Josh Dacos on the wing. Where's young Dacos? Nick Dacos on the interchange. So interesting sort of look up there. McInnes on the interchange, so I imagine he'll be running through that sort of guts region. And let's have a look. Crisp on the back flank with Maynard. I imagine Pendles and Crisp are kind of probably alternate a little bit between them and the guts. So really interesting there. Going to be an interesting game. De Koning obviously play at the back there. That'll be interesting with Darcy Moore or one of those. Actually, no, forward line. Probably Darcy Cameron as well. So they're going with Darcy Cameron over Mason Cox. That's good. De Koning might actually towel someone up for once, which will be nice. And having a look through Duncan on the wing. So makes sense, a bit of an outside player there. Danger still in the guts, so I think he'll bounce back this week. Dangerfield is one, particularly for, I reckon, high disposals. Collingwood probably won't tag so much. Danger got absolutely towed up by Mills last week, so I think he'll be really hungry, old man Dangerfield. So Robbo's back in after his horrible, crappy-ass 1 week suspension. Still dirty about that. No bias. Sharp omitted. Pryor omitted. That kind of makes sense. Ford's in. Stevenson's back in. McKay's back in. Taron Thomas obviously injured. Luke Davis-Uniacke got knocked out, or it says injured. Lazaro, Bonar, all gone. So, probably not really much surprises here. Zorko in the guts, though, so he has been rotating between there and the back line, so that'll be interesting there. Lions in the following with Neil, so that's interesting. Cockatoo still survives. I think he brings a lot of value. Fort as well rotates probably into that forward line. So it's going to be interesting to see how they sort of set up there. And again, it's such a deep, when you have Robertson, Pryor, Fullerton, and Sharp all on the emergency list can't get a game, you're doing pretty well. Now, let's say Cherry has to be in the ruck, bang, he's in the ruck there. CCJ's emergency, so we did say after week 1, CCJ, Callum Coleman-Jones won't be in that team with those two playing. It just works way better. Goldstein did his role well. Curtis Taylor, I think, is very underrated, and it looks like he's following, so that's going to be interesting. Curtis Taylor for draft leagues, everyone. Looks like if he's on the ball there, I think that could be a really good option in a draft league. I think he's underrated, Curtis Taylor. So Bailey Scott on the wing, Pollock on the wing. Basically, they're irrelevant there. Horn Francis picking the toes there. So I think it's going to be an interesting week for him this week. Watch Horn Francis to see how many midfield rotations he gets because they are quite thin at the moment with their midfield. So, all right, Carlton and Hawthorn. Chera's back in. Martin's back in. I think he provides a lot of options, Jack Martin. Boyd, Lewis, Parks, interesting. So, Mitch McGovern's injured. I did hear a rumor about that today. So now it's not even about if you want to keep McGovern. It's basically get that spot out of your side as quick as possible. Has to be. And I don't mind him. I think McGovern was one I was tossing up between. They have some easy games coming up. So if they put a lot of pressure on, then they'll probably get a few dump kicks forward. So therefore, he could probably actually mop up and get some intercepts. Probably won't happen now. Obviously, Andy's injured. So bang, straight out of my side. That's a good one. Easy. Makes the decision easy for you. It's no ifs or buts. He's gone. If you have him in standard, move along. Howe in, Kazitsky, Ned Long, Will Day. Will Day in is a very big inclusion. So that's good news for any Hawk owner. Phillips omitted. Not surprising, seeing he was a sub last week. Geez, you'd be disappointed being Phillips, wouldn't you? High hopes last year as a forward on fantasy premise, but... Okay, so here we go. That's the emergency. No wonder. Okay, so high interchange there. McGuinness, you'd say probably plays. Giath plays. Will Dave, he's named, he plays. And then it's probably a toss-up. Now, if Reeves is fit, they might actually go the extra tall, especially with Carlton having the two-prong. So you have DeConing in the ruck as well as... Where is their extra ruck? Pitney. So it looks like I imagine they'll probably play the two rucks, which means Nash... probably misses out, and Long, Kazitsky, etc. will all be emergencies for that game. So that's how I kind of expect them to line up. I guess we will see. This will be actually an interesting game because I think Hawks, their defenders are really good, particularly the tall, like the intercepting kind of defenders. So that'll be good for them, and I'd be really interested to see how they kind of stack up when you look at, say, a McKay, a Charlie Curnow, and those kind of players in their team. So it'll be really interesting. I'm actually excited to watch this game and to see if Carlton can handle that pressure now that they start to become favourites, playing at the MCG, I believe. So, yeah, MCG, 110 game. Really looking forward to this one. And it looks like Chad Warner got up as well, so that's good for that team. And this is another 50-51 for tipping this week. So Saints versus Richmond. I think only 25 are going Saints' way. I think... I might actually tip them this week because only 25% are. The odds are even, neck and neck. So with a 50-50 coin toss there, I'm thinking maybe Richmond probably should have got beaten last week. They played extremely well, but they are still quite low in that midfield department. So I think Steele actually goes absolutely hammer and tong this week. If you were looking at getting rid of Steele, I think he's going to hurt you this week. I reckon Steele goes 150 this week as far as Supercoach. So I wouldn't be getting rid of him. And if anything, I think you should actually watch and enjoy the ride this week because this is a game he could really towel up in. Rewalt's back, so that's good for them. Rioli, Grimes, Paddy Ryder in. So let's see how this goes. So no real omission here. However, Hayes is on the interchange. Now, this is going to be interesting. So they've got Brad Crouch, you'd have to say would play. Hayes... Easton Wood, Kent, that's a hard bench to even try and pick on an interchange. Like, who are they going to go with? So Rowan Marshall's playing, and they've already confirmed Paddy Ryder will play. Now, how can you go Membry forward, Max King and Ryder, and get in a Hayes? So it's going to be really interesting with that one. I'm going to wait officially, I guess, 24 hours until that team is announced to make sure Hayes plays before I put him in my side. Just to be sure, it's going to be an interesting one there. So definitely keep an eye on that for tomorrow and see how you go. And I believe that is all of the lineup. So let me just check because I fucked up last week. Carlton Hawks were good there. Brisbane North, good. Geelong Collingwood, Gold Coast and Giants, Port and Adelaide, Essendon, Melbourne. Oh, and obviously, yeah, we don't have the Fremantle and the West Coast game that gets announced Saturday afternoon, like at 5:25 or something. So it's going to be a little bit painful. Rumours are, though, we're talking about Fremantle. Sarong apparently didn't train today, and Darcy is touch and go, which means that he's getting better every day, and it's a low term thing. But he might not get up. Naming on Saturday probably gives him a better chance to get up and play. So it's going to be interesting there. Monday is still in health and safety protocol, so maybe he was a close contact and then got COVID, or he hasn't been cleared yet. So, and Walters apparently had scans on his wrist or something or other, or hand. So it's going to be an interesting one there. West Coast shouldn't be underrated. However, you would assume Fremantle still gets in, and it's going to be a little bit harder now that their coach also is a close contact and is on health and safety protocols. So they won't even have their coach. So if this was an upset week, West Coast, just to make Chris happy, would be the one to probably look at. So Fremantle for me, obviously got to back those boys in. But that's it. I'm going to go over now, record my podcast and my team and what's happening. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you soon. Bye.